And the fragile truce is well and truly broken. King and Conqueror continues at 9:30 here on BBC One, after a very special celebration.
Welcome to Edinburgh in August.
A city packed full of festival goers and home to the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo.
Which this year celebrates a special anniversary.
For 75 years, crowds have flocked here to Edinburgh.
And they've climbed up the Royal Mile to see the very best of Scottish culture, military musicianship and dazzling acts from across the globe.
All perform up there against the stunning backdrop of Edinburgh Castle.
In this year's celebratory show, watch out for returning favourites and some new surprises.
Coming up tonight, the stealthily talented Top Secret Drum Corps, the spectacular tattoo performers, and for the first time in the tattoo, the Orchestra of the Naval Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.
Plus, the US Army Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps, the award-winning representative band of the Polish Border Guard, and the amazing US Air Force Honor Guard drill team.
We'll also be hearing from the tattoo's patron, Her Royal Highness, the Princess Royal.
Let the celebrations begin. This year's show is called The Heroes Who Made Us, and all of tonight's performances will reflect that in different ways, including the choice of songs about to be played by the magnificent massed pipes and drums.
They're made up of 9 different bands, the largest of which is the Tattoo Pipes and Drums, and are being led out onto the esplanade by Senior Drum Major Rab McCutcheon.
Out on the right flank, the Scots Guards. It's one of the oldest regiments in the British Army. On their spats, their gaiters, they have 16 buttons, and on their doublet, their jackets, they have 42. This represents 1642, the year the regiment was founded.
The pipes and drums of 3 Scots wear the distinctive ceremonial dress of the original Black Watch. The Black Watch, 3rd Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, known in World War I by German soldiers as Ladies from Hell, referencing their kilts and fearsome presence.
The Highlanders, the 4th Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, pipes and drums. We're the Cameron of Eric Tartan, like myself, while pipers also display the Gordon Tartan on their bagpipes. The distinctive feature of the pipers' uniform is the golden eagle feather worn on their Glengarry.
Pipes and drums of the Royal Corps of Signals wear the red Grant tartan, and with them the pipes and drums of the Queen's Gurkha Signals, whose origins trace back to 1885. The pipers and drummers of the Royal Signals are first and foremost highly trained soldiers, experts in cyber defence, communications and logistics.
As you can see now, they're formed into REMT, the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo 75, to celebrate this historic anniversary.
The Paris Port Dover Pipes and Drums was officially formed around 2000. Paris and Port Dover are both communities in Ontario, Canada. It started with just 10 pipers and 1 drummer and has since grown to include over 100 members of varying skill levels.
A rousing start to the show and demonstrating perhaps the enduring appeal of the tattoo, which Jennifer discussed with the tattoo's patron, Her Royal Highness, the Princess Royal.
It is curious to think that it started 1950s, post-war, not much going on, not a huge amount of entertainment available, a lot of people coming back from a really interesting time to set up something of this scale. Yeah. But it was quite specific, I think, in terms of entertainment and also helping to fundraise. And maybe the fact that it focused very much on the sort of the bagpipes, universal appeal in that sense and where it had got to. But the mix, that's, you know, the international appeal and coming from all over, just underlines that point that music is really important to the military.
You get, I suppose, the drums, the pulse of that music. It gets everyone feeling. It gives you feeling, doesn't it?
That was probably practical, because if you were going to march long distances, you wanted something to give you a clue. Yeah. And it certainly made a difference, and it helped getting people around. Yeah. But it's amazing how it's lasted.
Now, not many people actually know this, but every year you attend the rehearsals, and you prefer to do this over going to the show in person. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think it's prefer is not quite the right expression, but I think as patron, they are so fundamental to the tattoo's ability to be successful. These are people who fundamentally volunteered from doing other busy things to be part of the tattoo, and they come from all across the globe. Yeah. And this year in particular, I think we've been very honoured to have that range of global support, particularly from the Ukrainians. And you can imagine, in the middle of their experience, that, you know, how we judge that. Not easy to do.
Very much so, yeah.
But it is still very much a part of their military experience, and that pulls a lot of people together. Music, as I say, is essential really to a military existence, and they have had their role in a number of different areas. So that's really important. And you get to meet those who do the logistics and the catering.
Yeah.
I think the catering might be quite an interesting job.
A challenge, I can imagine.
But I think, and the nice thing is, you get to know how much they're enjoying themselves.
I think people here have very much appreciated being recognised in the hard work that's gone into it, and we very much appreciate your time here talking to us today. So thank you very much.
Well, no, I mean, I know that those who turn up to watch and listen quite often come from all over the globe, but I hope a few locals will take the turn to listen as well and enjoy.
Scotland's proud of it, and we're
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Thank you so much, Your Royal Highness.
Pleasure.
Here now, the mass bands formed from the regional bands of the British Army, which is this year's lead service. The band of the Royal Regiment of Scotland, the band of the Prince of Wales, and British Army bands from Catterick, Colchester and Tidworth.
This is the first time that these bands have paraded together, and their programme will showcase a multitude of musical genres inspired by the heroes who made us.
The 74th Slow March, composed in honour of the 74th Highland Regiment, who stood fast, allowing women and children to take to the lifeboats when HMS Birkenhead sank off the shores of South Africa after hitting an uncharted rock in 1852. Now for a medley of hit songs by some of the heroes of Scottish music. Tell ya, how many of these can you name?
I love a challenge. As well as all the performers on the Esplanade tonight, there's also a live band based down in the Castle Moat under the musical direction of Dr. Nick Grace.
Lieutenant Colonel Tony Williams taking his place in the diocese. Advancing from the rear, the Guard of Honour from the 1st Battalion, the Royal Yorkshire Regiment. Giving the orders, Guard Commander Captain Edward Wright.
Taking the salute for tonight's show is First Minister of Scotland, John Swinney.
General salute! Present! Arms!
Have they gone? Time to introduce myself. I am your narrator, a lone piper. The lone piper. No, your lone piper. Conjured by the power of 75 years of music and dancing, by the connection with hundreds of crowds and thousands of audience. There's magic in the memory of all those shows. The people have willed it. The people. Power. Oh, I can feel it flowing through me, all tingling. I wonder what I can do. Hang on. Oh, yes! What else No. Mustn't get distracted. I'm here to guide you through the show. It's an important show for us. 75 years. Yes!
New for this year's tattoo, the storyteller, played by actor Terence Ray.
75 years of music and dancing and magic. A celebration of heroes. That's our show this year. The heroes who made this show possible. The heroes who made this country possible. The heroes who make our communities possible. They are the heart of our show tonight. But I can think of no one more becoming of the title heroes than the orchestra of the naval forces of the armed forces of Ukraine. Cheer them on the Esplanade this evening. Slava Ukraini!
Ukraine Naval Forces Orchestra described their performance this evening as the flame of freedom.
Traditional military band accompanied by some traditional instruments. The string instruments are the bandura and the cymbali.
The performance includes a ballet group of 8 dancers showcasing Ukrainian folk dances, the kozachok and gopak. This final song, which translates as "O the Red Viburnum," is a patriotic march, and the red viburnum, a shrub, is a national symbol of Ukraine.
Time now for a tribute to the 900th anniversary of when King David I created the Royal Borough of Edinburgh.
We thought being 75 was worth celebrating, but imagine being 900. Historic, ancient and enduring. Edina, Scotia's darling seat. Alderiki, Whale at Ilkatoon that Scotland kens beneath the moon. And what a 900 years it's been. Here's to you, Edinburgh!
Auditions for the Tattoo Dance Company take place in February and are open to Highland dancers from around the world.
Yes, the ensemble features dancers from Scotland, Canada and the United States, and even includes 2 world champions.
And in the middle of those 900 years, an explosion of ideas. A new civilization born, and born here. Shaping the world then, and still today. An explosion of inspiration, of ideas so bright that in a wilderness, they banished the dark.
The projections particularly celebrate the Scottish Enlightenment, an extraordinary period of intellectual and scientific endeavour in the late 18th and early 19th century Scotland.
Another spectacular performance and a nice little touch as they end up formed up as the official emblem of Scotland, the thistle.
Hi ladies, how you doing? That was incredible. That was an illuminating performance. Congratulations. Annika, I'm going to come to you first because you're part of the American contingent here in Edinburgh. How did you get into Highland dancing?
So I started dancing when I was about 5 years old, 14 years ago, in Houston, Texas. And my parents put me in, and for the past 14 years, I've been competing all around the world. This tattoo is very different than competing because we get to work together instead of competing against each other. And we really, I think, put on something incredible thanks to Aileen and all the dancing groups. So I'm hoping to be back for many years to come.
And Berit, you've come all the way from San Diego. You're a world champion dancer. Is San Diego a hotbed for Highland dancing talent?
Not exactly, but getting better every year. Yeah, my gran is actually from Cambuslang, born and raised. And so when she emigrated, she put my mum into it. And then my mum actually tried everything else under the sun, trying to not put me into Highland dancing right away. But I ended up taking a lesson and falling in love with it, and I've been doing it ever since.
There has been no international act more loved in all our years than this next one. Please, put your hands together for the Top Secret Drum Corps!
He's not wrong. Top Secret are always a crowd favourite. Not surprising, given their dedication. Joining the corps is by invitation only. Talented drummers in Switzerland are scouted and invited once they've proven themselves in competitions.
Top Secret Drum Corps began in Basel, Switzerland, when 7 friends formed a group to push beyond traditional military drumming.
For as long as there's been a Scotland and a Poland, the two nations have been friends, honouring their nation and their connection with the whole of Scotland. Please applaud onto the esplanade the representative band of the Polish Border Guard!
The drum major keeping time with the chupaka, an ornamental mountaineer's axe used as a mace.
Now the Market Garden March, a tribute to Operation Market Garden, the ambitious Allied airborne operation in September 1944, aimed at securing key bridges in the Netherlands. Polish forces, many of whom trained in Scotland, played a vital and courageous role in the battle for Arnhem.
The long wooden alpine horns there, known as trombita beskidzkie.
precision, courage, dedication, nerves of steel, unwavering trust in the man or woman next to you, and 16 10-inch government-issue razor-sharp rifle-mounted bayonets. It can only be the United States Air Force Honor Guard Drill Team! Stand by!
Drill team!
They're carrying the iconic M1 Garand with fixed bayonets, described by General Patton as the greatest battle implement ever devised. This rifle was in service from 1936 through to 1957.
The main distinction in the drill team uniform is the white ascot or cravat, which displays a skill level patch. New members wear a blank blue patch. The highest skilled individuals wear a patch with stars beneath the rifles, a badge currently held by just one member.
A well-executed and very difficult move, the blind back toss.
is no one else in the world who sounds like this next act. 10-hole fifes, handmade rope tension drums, and 3-valve bugles, bringing the historic sound of the Continental Army to life. Friends, I give you the United States Army Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps!
The Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps was founded in 1960 and is part of the 3rd US Infantry Regiment, known as the Old Guard.
This is their first time performing at the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo. Welcome.
The band performs 18th century music using authentic instruments and colonial uniforms.
Perhaps the most distinct of which is the fife, a flute made in the northeast of America from grenadilla wood. It's very durable and climate resistant and ideal for the conditions here in Edinburgh. Please, guys, dress in.
Hi, hello everybody.
This drum is absolutely spectacular and looks pretty heavy as well.
It's not too heavy. They weighs about 18 pounds, or we said about 8 kilos or so.
Right.
It's all handmade, all handcrafted by a drum maker in Virginia. All the artwork you see is hand painted on every drum that we have in our ensemble.
That is amazing. Faith, you play the fife, but you've got another role within the band that involves, is it wigs?
Yes, in fact, all of the musicians in our unit have secondary duties. So, of course, my primary is the fife. But in addition to that, I'm assigned to our hat and wig shop. So I'm one of 4 people who styles and maintains and takes care of all of our hats and wigs for the unit. So we'll be doing some touch-ups here and there and taking care of everything to keep all of our performers looking their best.
Thank you.
This is the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo.
The Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo.
Edinburgh Military Tattoo. The annual military tattoo. Edinburgh Military Tattoo.
And now, the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo.
You might just recognise one of those dulcet tones. Our very own JJ Chalmers. You've made it.
Just a few legends of tattoos of the past.
And you. Anyway, as you can probably tell, we're about to celebrate some of the highlights of the last 75 years here on the Castle Esplanade. Our storyteller is now in the uniform worn by the Tattoo's first lone piper in 1950.
Oh, Caledonia, stern and wild, meet nurse of a poetic child, land of brown heath and shaggy wood, land of the mountain and the flood, land of my sires. What mortal hand can e'er untie the filial band that knits me to thy rugged strand? Breathes there the man, with soul so dead, who never to himself hath said, "This is my own, my native land."
Those words by Sir Walter Scott, the famous Scottish writer and a proud son of Edinburgh. The projections here providing a light-hearted nod to some of the more eclectic acts from over the years. I've got to say, definitely bringing back a few old memories from coming here as a wee lad.
Guys, that was absolutely spectacular. Marianne, you've come all the way from Perth, Australia.
I have indeed.
And you've brought a bit of an ambition with you. Tell me about it.
I do. So I am currently the Deputy Head of Pipe Band at Presbyterian Ladies College in Perth. And one day I would absolutely love to bring my girls over here, because feeling the buzz of 9,000 spectators surrounded by incredible musicians, it is just such an incredible opportunity. And I would really love for my girls to experience that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Martin Ellis, father and son, out on the Esplanade together in front of all of those spectators. How did that feel?
Well, it felt amazing. It was just such a proud moment to be on there with Ellis, my son, and we've shared drumming as a passion for all our lives, really. Ellis has just joined the regular army. He's within his first year in the Royal Signals.
Ellis, you must be extremely proud to be able to share this moment.
Yeah, I am. It's a very good thing to share, especially with my dad, so it's a very proud moment for us and the family.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Our tattoo was born into the care of the Edinburgh Festival, out of the post-war desire to create a society worthy of the sacrifice of the Second World War. And as we mark the 80th anniversary of the end of that war, we continue to understand the sacrifice that allows us all to be here today. We are, all of us, the peace that follows. We cannot be defined by war, not by fields sown with sorrow, not by the death that befell you all, but by the peace that followed. Look what has risen from the fallen, above long shadows cast, the light that shines on open minds, the torch held in our past. If you could hear at the listening post all 80 years ahead and be, as you are, the missing host, where light and darkness wed. Look! What was sown by the stars at night across the fields. We are not defined by scars at all, but by the incredible ability to heal. Here are the past messages of the firstborn, the last words of the front, the first waves of springtide, where night bathes the sun.
That poem was an excerpt from The Listening Post, written by Lem Cisse. This year, the Tattoo ran a campaign inviting the public and charity partners to nominate their community heroes, and in each show, a spotlight is shone on one of them.
An evening of heroes. So many to include. But I think this next one might just be my favourite. That was Hayley Lawrence. She was a serving medic in the Royal Army Medical Corps when she was injured in ops in Afghanistan. Although wounded, she put the lives of her comrades first, treating their injuries. She's now teaching student nurses in the role of mental health nursing. She is tonight's representative of all the local heroes and volunteers who were nominated by the public in our campaign earlier this year. You'll see some of the faces of those other nominees later on. But for now, for Hayley and all those who through their tireless care knit our communities together, can we please show some appreciation? Thank you.
I can attest to the heroism of medics like Hayley Lawrence. After all, I owe my life to them.
In this next piece, you can see the faces of all the nominated heroes projected onto the castle walls.
The choirs you can see in the stands are Sing in the City Choir and the Ukrainian community choirs.
Eagle's Wing, written by Scottish band Skippinish, the song is a heartfelt tribute to Scotland, portraying a deep connection to the country despite being far away.
Now the evening hymn, Travel These Ways, by Corrine Polwart. A Scottish singer-songwriter, the entire cast will sing together for the chorus, a first for the tattoo.
Sleep Dearie Sleep, played at the very first tattoo in 1950 and most recently at the Queen's State Funeral.
Who are you?
I'm a piper.
You're good. But you're a bit young, lass.
I'll get older. I'll get even better.
I've no doubt. I'm afraid you've missed the show.
I'm not here for the show. I'm here to make a promise.
What's that then?
To another 75 years.
Bree Chief, Gaelic for the Future, played there by Grace.
That's some promise. Drum Major? I think we've left one behind. We'll need it for the years to come. Go on.
When you come.
Aye. I guess that's us then. Take us home, pipes and drums! Take us home!
As Grace falls in with the mass pipes and drums, she joins a cast of what has been 1,031 performers.
And not forgetting those many people behind the scenes who make this special show possible, the unseen heroes of the tattoo.
We hope you've enjoyed this 75th anniversary special, which has been a celebration of tattoos past, present, and as drones fly high above Edinburgh Castle, indeed, the future.
The Heroes Who Made Us has been an impressive debut by new creative director Alan Lane, and we're already excited to find out what he has in store for next year's Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo. Until then, thank you for joining us. Good night.